Jay here, Stretford Paddock, and this is Transfers Live, or as we're now called, We Hate the Owners Super League is a Nonsense Live, which is pretty much what it's been.
Sounds about right.
Yep, joining me as always, is Joe Smith. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
I mean, Leicester are winning 3-0. We'll keep you up to date with that a little bit, but they've won, essentially. West Brom ain't coming back from 3-0 down against Leicester, are they?
No, yeah, so we've got a bit of a mini watch-along going on now, as Joe said, but we've got bigger fish to fry than Leicester versus West Brom, because we've got to talk about the remnants of this Super League nonsense. Apparently it's still not fully dead. Some clubs are going to be
Barcelona, they're still going, you know what? We'll see you in May. We'll fucking see it. We've got the prelims, we've got the draw, we've got the qualification. They're just going to be, what was it, August they was talking about starting it? I'd love it.
They could do the draw and the awarding of the trophy in the same day.
Yeah.
So they could go, we've been drawn against ourselves, and the winner is us.
The last team left in the competition is us from day one. Right, what else we got?
So we've got a little bit of that. We've got about Jesse Lingard as well. We're going to talk about him. He's been speaking out about mental health. It's great to see him talking out and being so open and honest about it all. We've got some news about Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. Contract. Pogba, Fernandes, contract.
Contract destiny bond, if you will. Yeah, if you could imagine such a thing.
That is exactly what I was going to say. We've also got some news about Raphael Varane. Remember him?
I do.
Remember him when we used to do transfers on here?
Can you remember that?
Before the madness.
Last week.
Yeah.
How long has this week seemed? It's only Thursday, Jay.
I was talking to someone before. In fact, I'll tell you, it's not a secret. I talked to Laurie Whitwell because we're doing this show. We did an interview with him.
From The Athletic.
From The Athletic. And I spoke to him about Monday. And it felt like I was talking to him something like a year ago.
2012.
Yeah, do you remember that time, 3.5 days ago? When?
And he said, no, I can't remember that.
Hang on a minute.
Because I've had my mind sliced by all the news. I've had a news-induced mind slice. That's what he said, didn't he?
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
Don't forget to get involved in the comments. Give us a like as well. Hit that like. Hit subscribe as well. If you're not subscribing to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for all your support lately as well. It's been great to see you all getting involved. Also, we will be reading out some of your comments. Starting with United Forever Podcast says, happy haircut, Joe Smith.
Thank you very much.
AKA Josie Herrero.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and someone else says, Joe and Jay. Or Jay and Joe, I don't know why I edited it.
600 quid this haircut cost.
What?
Because I went in there and I said, how much is it? And they went 200 quid. I went, it's not expensive enough.
Yeah? That's like Ed Woodward negotiating tactics.
600.
How much? 200,
600.
20
million? I'll give you 80.
How much did you have off it?
Nothing, I don't get a discount.
No, off your hair, in length. Very, very witty. Banter. He's done me now, hasn't he?
Cheers.
He's proper done me.
Cheers. Honestly,
yeah.
And you'll know about this.
Go on.
8 inches.
What I'd give to have 8 inches. Taking off
You've got
hair.
what have you got there?
I've not had 8 inches since the 80s. I'm not even joking.
Since your prison days.
Yeah.
Right, let's start, shall we? Let's get stuck in. Not in that way.
Talking of 8 inches. Right, we're going to go on. The first story is actually, we can be a little bit serious. Jesse Lingard. We all love Jesse Lingard. We do. We speak about him quite a lot on this channel. And we love the fact that he's smashing it at West Ham because he's still a United player. It's good for us if he's doing well. And also, we have got a soft spot for him because he scores goals in cup finals.
And he's still a Man United player.
Still a Man United player. And also, he's been on this channel several times.
Yeah.
Always a good lad, always a good lad to chat to.
Just quickly,
Go on,
anyone in the comments who think I paid even a sort of anywhere close to 600 quid to get my haircut, people seem to be taking that somewhat seriously. It was well under 40 quid.
That would be the end of any of our super chats. If they thought you were spending
absolutely
600 quid
not.
on your
I don't even know where you could get a 600 quid haircut from. Probably wherever Shirley Bassey gets her haircut. No, absolutely not.
Why is 22 wrote Burt Reynolds in the chat?
Good though, isn't it? Right, come on, Jesse Lingard. What we got?
Jesse Lingard has been speaking about his mental health. Now, we had Jesse Lingard on Full-Time Devils when we were Full-Time Devils about 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he'd asked to see a psychologist at Manchester United. He said he'd asked to see one. And he was quite open about it. And he did a few interviews after that as well where he spoke about his family situation had changed and he struggled a little bit mentally. And that was one of the reasons that his form had been affected. And the sort of sad thing is a lot of people don't like to admit that or don't like to get on board with that idea that when your mental health is suffering, it doesn't matter whether you're a footballer or anything else, your performance at work's going to suffer, but especially so when you're in the limelight and you're doing such a high-pressure job where everyone's watching you like footballers do. So he's been speaking about it. He's been giving a great interview, and he said, speaking about his mental health, he said about sort of quitting. He said not really quitting, just having a timeout really. I was going into games, happy sitting on the bench, and that's not me. Which, you know, if you know Jesse Lingard, he's a very sort of confident guy, and he's one of those players that, as a confidence player, he's someone that, you know, he needs to feel that things are going well and that, you know, people are behind him. And that obviously wasn't the case. No. You can see how it says there, he battled against mental health issues and his mother's depression. His mum was suffering from depression. Yeah. And I think he had a lot of responsibility on his shoulders as well. If I might be wrong, but I think he employs some of his own family. So
right.
Like, I think his brother or something. Yeah, do that, like Marcus does that. Marcus Rashford done it. I think he employs all his brothers in some capacity, which is only fair enough. So there was a little bit more responsibility on Jesse. I think as well, he'd just become a dad, or he's about to become a dad for the first time. So it was all happening, and naturally that affects your performance on the football pitch. Yeah,
and there was talk. He was saying as well in this interview about how when he would be, 8 or 9 years old, and his mum would just spend all the day in bed and not be able to get out, and he's got to not sort of fully understand what's going on because, like I said, he's 8 or 9 years old, and that sort of upbringing, that sort of childhood is something that leaves a lasting impression on someone. And sometimes, some of it I'm sure has helped him become a stronger person, and has helped him in his life. And seeing those things has helped him be able to deal with things in his personal life outside of his family. But it's immensely difficult. It's such a difficult thing to sort of be around and to not really, because that's the thing, like he says, you don't really understand that as a 9-year-old. Especially, this is 15, 20 years ago now, I suppose, when the talk around mental health wasn't the same as it is now, and things have changed a lot in that time. So it's really difficult, and hearing him come out and say that, you can tell almost, as he says it, the way he's playing for West Ham at the minute isn't just someone on form, it's someone who's like, just a release, isn't it? It seems like it's like, I'm so happy to be happy, as well as happy to be playing well. Like, he just looks so joyful when he's playing, so full of confidence. But it's almost that extra level of like, where I was a year ago to now, you get an extra sort of boost when you've seen those lows that he's obviously been going through. So, I'm really happy for him, and hope this can be a long-term change in his health and how he views things with football. But yeah, it's sad to hear, isn't it? You can imagine how, when you're in a difficult place mentally, and you are, like I said, you sat on the bench, and you're kind of happy to be sat on the bench because it's less pressure, you still get to hang around with your mates, you still get to do the job, but you don't have to worry about putting on a show or the scrutiny that comes with playing football. You can see how you would get into that mindset and that sort of patch. So, yeah, I'm really happy for him, and it makes it a little bit extra special as well. Obviously, I want West Ham to get top 4, keep Chelsea out, keep Liverpool out, keep Tottenham out.
If Jesse Lingard keeps Liverpool out of top 4, we should build him a statue.
Exactly. So, yeah, extra happy for him, and it's good that he's come out and speaking like this, because even now, and I said, the discussion around mental health has changed a lot, it's still not where it needs to be. So the more people, especially in football, that come out and talk about these things, the better.
Declan Platt says, only barbers who charge 600 quid are Glazers razors. Love that.
Very good, actually.
Fantastic. Adam McCullough as well is in the chat. Big shout out to Maka. If you've not checked out the video as well, after you've watched this one, go and check out him and that Stephen Howson. You know that bloke? Them two firing shots at the Glazers as you'd expect them to. That's how they do. Do get involved in the chat. Do give us a like as well. Jesse Lingard, like you said, the sad thing is about Jesse Lingard is, and I remember this when we interviewed him, and the problem we interviewed him, and then it was a case of, right, let's put this interview out, and then his form was struggling, and I was worried because the backlash is going to be there. Even though he's talking about mental health, you think people are going to be like, having a dig at him, and then I remember we played City and he played really well, and then we put it, the video went out and there was quite a lot of positivity. But you always feel that with players, it's the similar thing with Daniel James. If they speak out about this and their form isn't great, they won't get the reception that they'll get if they're playing well. Right now, Jesse Lingard's amazing. He scored 8 goals, whatever it is, 9 goals in 2 months. He couldn't be playing any better than he is. Literally, it's like he's a phenomenon at the minute. So when he comes out and speaks, he'll get all that support. Now, I'm not saying everyone's like that, but you tend to feel that if he was still at United and it was like he was in this rut where he wasn't at first team, he was barely making a bench, he'd gone 2 years. Remember when he went a calendar year without a goal or assist? Which is when he was going through a lot of this, don't forget. Now, I know some people might not have known he was suffering from mental health, but would he have still got the same reception? Would he have still got people who, by and large, have responded to this interview with a lot of positivity and a lot of love towards it? Or would people have been going, excuses? I'm not saying everyone's like that, but there is an element of that, I think, on social media. And I think it's a little bit of a reminder to the fact that what players are going through. We've spoken about it. I felt Mason Greenwood was going through it a lot earlier on. I'm not saying he was depressed, but he lost a friend. There was stuff going on off the field. And you think sometimes you just got to show a bit of love and support to these players, because we've all been there. I think sure all of us have suffered at one point mentally, whether you've had mental health issues or just been down, disparaging, but you've just had something going on that you've been struggling to deal with. And I think we have to sort of remember that sometimes, because I've been guilty of it, dismissing what must be going on for players off the pitch, and Jesse's obviously speaking up about it. Just before going to you, Joe, I'll go through some super chats. Zizo says, I never knew that Jesus Christ himself was an online pundit. Is he talking about me or you there?
I don't know. Maybe the way you speak, the way you look, the way you heel. Or I guess maybe my looks. That's interesting. Must be one of your first times on the channel, which is quite good. Or maybe your first time in a while.
I always love it when people refer to as Jesus. It's like it's new.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's Jesus.
People shout at me that at me in the streets, Jay.
Do they really?
I'm not joking. Generally women. Not like trying to fancy me women, like, okay, Jesus, that kind of woman who's like, Jesus!
Does anyone ever do that thing of like, Jesus Christ, is that the time?
No,
like
I'm not
trying to get that dig in, but
maybe. I think I had that once actually, but I don't know where. It's ringing the bell.
Like, they're trying to be smart, like, Jesus Christ! And then, is that the time? But
someone said that to me the other day, it was a man.
We should
have decked him.
Yeah.
It was too far away.
Would Jesus have done this?
Would Jesus have done this? And then some.
Yeah.
And then some.
Bring that back from the dead, you muppet.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. Edward Bamber says, would you have Lingard back next season?
I don't think so.
I'm scared.
Why?
Because I've always said no. Because I think he's moved to, like you just said, he's moved to West Ham, has happened so well for a reason. I think he needed to move on and things were happening. I know he's on loan and he could come back. But I've always said if he comes back to United, you won't see that. Like, you wouldn't see that form. The problem is, he's so ridiculously good at West Ham. I'm scared that if he does go somewhere else and carries on this form, we're just going to be like, what did we do that for? Why didn't we keep him? Because
Well, the thing is, though,
I know
he's never been this good at United.
No. He's never. There's few players who are going through, who've had a spare period in recent memory.
Ian being one of them.
Yeah. He's like scoring and assisting every game.
Yeah.
And like in a team that isn't that good.
No.
West Ham and City
No.
at the moment. They've not got like loads of stars. They've got like, Souček's decent, Bowen's decent, Rice, who's not even been playing the last few games, decent. But, Antonio is okay. But, just the guy was playing alongside Mark Noble the other week. He's in his team. He's terrible at football. Yeah. And yet, they're still sort of banging in the
Well,
goals.
it depends where he goes. If he goes to West Ham or Villa or, Leicester to a lesser extent, because they very much are
I think
on
he'd
that
suit
course.
Leicester.
I think he would suit Leicester.
I think that's a really good sort of fit for him.
I think he'd suit him. Sorry, I'm burping there. I think he'd suit him, but I wouldn't want to sell him to Leicester because on any given season we can finish behind Leicester. But generally speaking, we don't finish behind West Ham, Villa. I don't think we ever have in the Premier League, so I'm not speaking too out of turn for that. But you know what I mean? That kind of club, maybe a Brighton, if they stay up this season, someone with a bit of potential. They're probably a bit too low down the league for him. But, Newcastle or somewhere of this description.
Do you know what the thing is we need to remember? There's talk as well of like a loan move, a swap deal, with Declan Rice. Jesse swapping with Declan Rice. Now, Jesse might look at that and go, West Ham aren't a Champions League football team. They're not. They might get in the Champions League this season, but it's a one-off. Yeah. And it's not.
Have they ever played in the Champions League before?
I don't think so. I can't remember that. Forget getting the. No. I know they won the Intertoto Cup once. I don't know if that gets you in the Champions League. I don't think it does.
No.
But that was like 20 years ago or something.
Not these days, mate.
So Jesse might look and go, I'm a Champions League level footballer. I should be going to a team that by and large are in the Champions League every year. Like Leicester are pretty much. I know they didn't get into it this year, but they're going to get in it. And he might look at it and go, okay, they've been in it a couple of times.
West Ham's never been in the Champions League.
Yeah, maybe like Spurs would be a bit more of a banker for Champions League football. My point is, if he doesn't want to go to West Ham, and we don't get Rice because of that, then people have got to accept that. You can't blame Jesse Lingard if he doesn't want to go as part of a swap deal with Declan Rice. Because I've seen some people already saying he needs to go and make that deal happen. No, he doesn't. If he thinks like I don't want to spend the rest of my not career, but the sort of the good
peak
bit of my career, my peak years. Thank you. At West Ham, and I kind of get that. Steve Rowbottom in the Super Chat says, watching from Canada and love the energy, entertainment and discussions you guys bring. Been watching for years. Cheers for making each game, each pre and post match fun to watch. Glazers out, completely agree with all of that.
Thank you very much, mate.
Glazers out indeed. Also, can I just say as well, my lad got a goal tonight. Well done, little Ellis. Hey?
In what?
In his football training.
Well done, little Ellis. Train hard.
Train hard. Play hard.
Yeah, take that onto the pitch.
Keep it going, and one day you can play alongside Cam Waters for Stretford Paddock FC. Shall we move on?
Yes, Sam J says the Glazers have the hairiest gooch in modern football.
The hairiest what?
Gooch. I believe that's a reference to Housen and McCullough, or McCullough and Housen Uncensored from earlier, so watch that after you've watched this. Yeah.
Go and watch
There's loads of news to talk about tonight, so we better get through it.
What are you threatening me for? What's all that about?
Threatening for?
Well, you like leaning over going, there's loads of
Yeah, I said there's loads of news to talk
frowning
about.
Frowning
All right, where's the threat then? Where's the threat?
See, now you exacerbating
now there's a
with
fucking
raising
threat,
your voice. Nah, all right.
Yeah.
I don't know what fuck about with workshops firm. Should we move on?
Yes, meet me under the bridge at Kilton, mate. See what happens to you. Kilton, Prospect, Manton, yeah? Sparkenhill, Gateford, yeah? St John's, Roman's Rest. Fucking meet me anywhere and I'll do you. Valley, Carlton Road, North Notts, Worksop College, fucking Knobhead. What are you saying? Meet you at fucking Clumber Park, mate, doing up in the woods. I'll do you in the woods, mate.
Mate, you lot won't dare come down to M30 up.
Yeah, good luck. Right, next story.
I don't know where them places are, so I'm scared of all of them. An owner is close to selling a club. There's an exclusive for you.
Go on.
It looks like one of the big six
Yes.
who were involved in this absolute debacle that was the Super League. We can say was, even though there's some remnants of it still left, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, it looks like one of the owners, according to reports, is sort of cracking. Not only is he cracked under the pressure of the fact that the Super League is no more and they had to back out of it, but that they could be close to selling as well. Could this be the Glazers is the question that everyone's asking. You can see it on the graphic there, because we think it's one of the English clubs. Their owners have said, you know what, we've seen the fan reaction, the fans are fuming, we get it, we're not really welcome here anymore. Maybe we should sell up and move on. Is it the Glazers?
Well, first of all,
think
I think
so,
you've been a little bit kind with the reasoning behind it. I don't think it's, we've seen the fan reaction, they didn't like it, we've overstayed our welcome. I think it's our big chance at making hundreds of millions a year has been foiled potentially forever. Let's fuck off while we've still got the chance. Right, let's go through the possible owners who it's going to be. City, no.
I fucking love it. If they went, you know what, don't really like this idea anymore. You can go back to Moss side and, Division 2, whatever you're in.
It won't be City.
No.
I doubt it's Chelsea very much.
Abramovich isn't going anywhere, no matter how many times we deny him a passport.
Liverpool, potentially. It could be Liverpool, maybe, but I think they're seeing enough success on the pitch that they won't sell up yet, because Liverpool's growing quite quickly at the moment. Tottenham, I doubt it after the big new stadium. I think it's either Arsenal or Man United. I think it's either Arsenal's owners or United's owners that are the ones who are looking to sell. Because we did hear the other day, was it Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail?
Oh, wait.
And a few other people as well, though. That's where it came from, but a few other people were suggesting that there are rumours that the Glazers saw what happened with the Super League. And again, it's not because they care about the fans. They think we've overstepped the mark. Let's just hide our faces for fear of embarrassment. It's none of that. It's none of respect for the game, respect for the fans, respect for the club. It is, we wanted this one last push to make hundreds of millions every single year for the next 10 years, and it's been blocked. And that, football, transfer prices were going like this, just skyrocketing. And then we've hit COVID and things have plateaued. And if you're ever going to stop making money as a football owner, this next 5 years is probably it. Because I think a bubble will have burst in terms of, certainly in terms of transfers. A bubble seems to have burst in terms of revenue as well. Who knows how things will be with streaming and online platforms getting games and, the money that's in the broadcasting of television over the next few years. If I was an owner of a football club who only cared about money, I think you could make the case that now would be a good time to sell. And I think that's the only reason why this might happen. And I think it could be the Glazers. I do think that. I think it's between the Glazers and the Arsenal owners.
Ivor in the Super Chat says, thanks for the entertainment the other night, guys. Well, when will Ollie get the well-deserved praise for how Mason has developed? #Glazers out. Gio Franco says, the ASL already exists. It's called the International Champions Cup. It means the same as the ESL. Worthless, and it's a total cash grab of foreign cash. Total cash grab, of foreign cash. Yeah, I know what you mean there with everything. It looks like this could be a turning point, and there may be a bit of a realisation that without that Super League, which is dead in the water, maybe they're not going to get that revenue that they wanted. Maybe they're not going to. It's not going to happen. Maybe as well when fans are around back in the ground, you're not going to be able to get all that sort of match day cash that you thought you were. Okay, now the pandemic's over, everyone's just going to come flooding back. Something may have changed, and I think you're right about it. It's just money based. It's not like we're scared of the fans. We're scared of losing lots of money. And as I mentioned earlier in that interview with Laurie Whitwell, he was talking to him about that Super League and just how integral that idea in terms of Glazers was to their thinking around Manchester United. It's like, you know, we are going to have this Super League sooner or later. This is going to be a part of it. I think it's been a few years in the planning. And they always just assumed that would happen and they'd be able to get hundreds of millions of pounds of revenue from it. That's not happening now, so what's the next step for them?
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to, well, they could try and come up with another one like this, but they can see the backlash and they can see how that would be fraught with problems.
And another thing to bear in mind is, you look at stock prices, which we don't give a shit about,
No.
but the owners give a shit about, obviously.
Yeah.
And the stock price when we joined the Super League boosted.
Yeah.
When we left, went down.
Yeah.
So in terms of people buying shares in a football club, people from the outside wanted this to happen. Investors thought it would be good for the club if this happened. They thought that the value of the club would rise, if this happened. So it's obviously, from a money perspective, a bad thing that we're not in this.
Yeah.
And I just think that when you put it all together, all the pieces together, if the stock of Manchester United goes down far enough, the value and therefore the sale price of Man United goes down, then the Glazers will be thinking, what was the critical mass of when we could sell for the most money but for the least time spent? You know what I mean? They've been here for 15 years. They're not going to be shy to stay another year. But maybe they thought, here's the final roll of the dice. Here's the chance to do this. And if there's legislation that comes in, that the video with Andy Burnham will be out tomorrow morning, by the way, 9:30 in the morning with Stephen Housen and Andy Burnham.
The mayor of
Greater
Manchester.
Yeah, Stephen Housen chatting to the mayor of Manchester.
Stephen Housen turns into Jeremy Paxman.
Yeah.
Giving us the political questions of the day.
But he raises a point in that, talking about a potential structure put in place where any shares being sold would have to be offered first to season ticket holders and first to the fans. So that may well affect share prices. Because if people on the stock market are thinking, well, hang on a sec, we can't even buy these fucking shares properly, then all of a sudden, you know, the stock might come down. So the Glazers will be thinking, if this comes in, if that comes in, if we don't get to do that, if this has been cancelled, then the stock price will come down, the value of the club will come down, and whenever we do sell, we may never get as much as we get now. That's why I think, even from a financial perspective, this could make sense for them to cash out now while they've got the chance.
I hope you're right. Darren Cox says, Glazers out, the sale would be scrutinised by the FA and the government, unlike last time. United would be much better when it is focused on football again. Completely agree, you know, I'm sick of talking about our owners. I wish we didn't have to talk about our owners. I wish we had owners that you didn't even know who they were, because, you know, they just leave the manager alone and let him get on with it. And, you know, the funds are available from what the club makes towards transfers, instead of these owners who are just bleeding us dry to the point where we're just completely focused on him. Because we're so angry all the time, because they're taking the piss all the time, which is what the Glazers have been doing since they came in 2005. We just got away with it for a few years because of Sir Alex Ferguson's genius. Johnny Orbital in the super chat says, Jay, I'm M30. You dishing out lifts on Saturday? No, sorry, mate. I'm not. I don't think I've got the car.
If you're not, your missus got the car. M30. What's your favourite postcode you've ever lived in? You ever lived in M1?
No, have you?
Yeah.
Have you?
My last flat was.
M1?
Yeah.
It's decent, that.
Decent, mate.
M1.
Yeah.
I've lived in M41.
Have you?
Yeah.
Same thing.
M44 as well. M44, yeah, that was alright. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Nice.
But no.
Right, what's up next then? I've got a super chat while we get the next story up. D-Chan87 says, just putting it out there right now, MBS should not buy United. I don't know what MBS is.
MBS? MBS?
Have we been scammed? Isn't that like a sofa company?
That's the FS.
Oh, sorry.
MBS, Major Big Soccer.
Spenders.
Major Big Spenders should not buy United. Forgive us for being obtuse. Tell us who MBS are,
Yes.
because you'll tell us and we'll go,
of course.
Right, of course. We're so thick. Lewis Taylor says, do you think shirt sales will be massively affected, and how annoyed do you think our new shirt sponsors will be because of damaged reputation?
There's all that. That's the thing, isn't it? All of the hits that they take, all of these sort of micro hits on the share price here, on the kit sponsors there, on the uncertainty of television revenue there. Like, here's another thing. If Sky and BT are sat at the bidding table ready to take the next package of Premier League deals over the next few years, and they're sat there going, well, hang on a sec, let me just quickly raise my hand. Do you remember last time when we were halfway through a contract and you tried to basically dismantle the Premier League for the sake of you going off to do a Super League tournament that would have basically reduced our viewership by about 50%? Yeah, well, we remember that as well. So next time, instead of 2.5 billion or whatever it was the time before last, we'll give you 1.5, because we're not going to risk the uncertainty of you collapsing the whole fucking league that we're spending money on sponsoring. The reputations are irreparably changed after this. Things have changed now because as a result of this. Even though we're going back to how it was, even though the Champions League will be the main European competition, reputations and people's certainty or uncertainty around the Premier League has changed, and you can't put it back.
No, sorry. The MBS was Mohammed bin Salman. He's the Saudi, I believe, the Saudi prince, is it? Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
I am not too keen on us becoming...
Margaret's Burger Shop.
Yeah, there were several things that made me laugh there, some of which I can't repeat. I'm not too keen on that, to be honest with you. I think that why is he buying us? Oh, is that to distract from the fact that, he's not doing very nice things to other people elsewhere? And it's this whole thing of, do you get nice billionaires that can come in and buy the club? Probably not. The best, I think, option for us would be a change in legislation that lets fans own 51%, is it, of the club? Is that the thing?
Yes, 50 plus 1.
50 plus 1.
Which, by my maths, Jay, 51.
Is it?
Yeah.
So that leaves 40...
No, because what you have to do is you have to get from 50 to 60, which is 9, and then 60 to 100.
Which is?
30, 10, 40. Plus the 9.
49.
40.
49% left over.
For the big wigs, for the fat cats.
For the fat cats, that would be probably the best option, but we'll have to wait and see, because that relies on, the government to do things, which I'm never a big fan of, relying on them for anything.
Matt MM in the comments says DFS is Doncaster Furniture Store.
Didn't
know that, did
I
you?
saw that.
Is that true? Can we get a fact check on whether DFS is Doncaster Furniture Store?
Is DFS?
Because Workshop's near Doncaster.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You're just saying that because you want to make...
We used to go to Donny Dome all the time, mate. You want to go ice skating? Go to Donny Dome, pal. If you change your mind that way, there you go fucking swimming. You take your swimming trunks and your skates with you, mate. Simples.
I mean, I'm not... No, it's not. I can't find it. Is it?
Formerly Direct Furnishing Supply.
Right, it's Direct Furnishing Supply.
See, I told you, he's proper done you there.
Matt MM, mate.
Hey?
Get out.
Doncaster Furniture
If you show
Store.
your face at this door again, Matt MM,
I can't believe
you'll be gone.
Fell for that. He's proper done you.
Right, what's our next story?
Our next story is on Direct Furnishing Store. No, it's
sick
not
of
really.
you.
It's on Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, have you seen what's going on?
Go on, tell me.
So,
Talk to me, babes.
rumour has it that Bruno is going to sign a new deal.
Yay! We love Bruno. Signing a longer deal can only be good for Manchester United.
Only if Paul Pogba signs a new deal.
You mean that one player who we're always constantly fearful is going to leave and who keeps making noises about leaving, with the agent who absolutely hates Manchester United Football Club and has been a constant pain in our ass since 2011?
That exact one. That exact Paul Pogba. So what's happened here is the suggestion is Bruno's gone. Paul Pogba's our best chance of winning things. Pogba's gone. Bruno's our best chance of winning things. Bruno will only sign a deal if Paul Pogba does. Now, I don't know how much I believe that. I wouldn't surprise me if Bruno sort of said, I need assurances about what's going on. The sort of, it's not, I was going to say Wayne Rooney, but it's not just Wayne Rooney that's done that. Plenty of players down the years, senior players at the club around football, it's not unusual for the senior players to say, where is this club going over the next few years? I need some assurances that we're heading in the right direction. We're trying to keep these top players, and Paul Pogba is, arguably United's most talented player. It would make sense to me that this was true. I hope that it's not a certainty, a sort of a binding statement of, I will not sign unless Pogba does. Because let's not forget, Bruno's got 4 years left on his deal after this season. Bruno's got a hell of a long time. Yeah. We could have replaced Paul Pogba and had 2 years with someone even better than Paul Pogba by the time he actually has to renew. So it's not a certainty to me. Do you think there's any truth in this? Do you think he's expressed a sort of, we need to be keeping the sort of player that Paul Pogba is at this club if you want to keep the sort of player I am at this club? Do you think Bruno said something like that maybe?
I don't know. It sounds a little bit like they're trying to just put Bruno and Pogba in headlines, and there's a bit of sort of guesswork going on here, because where's this coming from? And, would Bruno really be saying that? Would he be saying, oh, it's all about Paul Pogba staying? I'm not so sure he would. I mean, let's don't forget as well, Paul Pogba's been injured for a big chunk of Bruno's time here.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's solely played alongside Paul Pogba. You might look at Paul Pogba and go, he's the best player in the team and I'd love him to stay. But I don't know. I get the feeling, and it might just be my heart rather than my head, that Bruno would stay at United. I think he is sort of, he's in it. He's with us. Do you know what I mean? And I think that, yes, he's every right. As you mentioned, other players have demanded signings. Wayne Rooney was one who said, you know, he wouldn't sign a new deal. He didn't think we were sort of doing enough to sign some of the top players. Eric Cantona, if you look at Fergie's first book, I'm pretty sure that Eric retired, one of the reasons was he felt like he was being used as a pawn by the marketing side of things for the club, and he didn't feel the club was being aggressive enough in the transfer market. And Fergie said I agreed with him on both those points. I'm pretty sure that's what said. Forgive me if I'm getting that wrong, and go and check Managing My Life, Fergie's first book.
Did Cantona play with Andy Cole at United?
Yeah, Cole came in 94, 95. Halfway through that season, and Cantona didn't retire to 97. There was all these rumours that they didn't get on, but Andy Cole just that in his book and said it was a load of rubbish.
Really?
People were trying to create nonsense that wasn't there.
So we got rid of... Go on, sorry.
He said him and Eric always got on. So they weren't best mates or anything, but there was no issue.
We got rid of Cantona, brought in Dwight York, basically.
Teddy first.
Was it?
But Cantona retired, and then Teddy came in from Spurs, and he was seen as the heir apparent to Cantona. Didn't have the greatest season. Arsenal did the double. We didn't win anything. Went out in the Champions League against Monaco, and Teddy Sheringham, I love, probably had his worst game in the United shirt. Just missed about 10 chances. But then 99, he kind of made up for it a little bit. I don't know. He scored a goal or two. I can't remember. It's all very, very vague. But yeah, I don't know. I take it with a pinch of salt. Take these stories with a pinch of salt. One thing I will say is that I think Paul Pogba this season, despite the fact that I do have question marks about his injury record, it worries me a little bit the amount of games he's missed over the past 2 years in particular. He's shown us how good he is and how much we could do with him sticking around, because he is, on his day, one of the best, if not the best midfielders on the planet on his day. He is. He's unplayable. And some of the performances he's put in of late, you've seen that second half against Spurs. People say, well, he doesn't do it enough, but there's some players that can never do that.
Yeah,
most
players can never do that.
You can't just get hold of the ball and skip past players in the middle of the park, hold them off as well, and pick out at will, and then put a perfectly weighted 40-yard pass to someone's foot. Players can't do that. He does it with both feet as well. He can use his left or his right. So him and Ole have a good relationship. The only issue is this is probably going to be Paul Pogba's last big, massive move. So Mino Raiola going to be looking at it going, I could get 10% of 70 million here, 80 million. If he signs a new deal, I ain't going to get that much. And he seems to be in Pogba's ear. He seems to have Pogba's ear. Some agents, the players don't really listen to him. Raiola's been with Pogba since he was 18. So he's really, he's someone that Pogba listens to. So that's the only issue I have with that. But in terms of Bruno, maybe it's just because, like I said, it's my heart ruling my head. But I've not really got an issue or a real fear, with Bruno Fernandes. We'll wait and see, but I'm not too panicking about that. And it's Joshy says, history lesson by Jay Motti, ladies and gentlemen. Kelly Bell says, love you guys, great content as always. Dancy Son 851. This is a good question. How do we do transfer deals with other Prem teams now? Will anyone still deal with us? I don't want to keep banging on about it with you, Laurie, but he mentioned this about Woodward. Maybe that's the thing with getting rid of Woodward, because Woodward would have been that person or could have been that person involved in them deals. I know John Murtaugh's come in as well. And now it's like, well, he's gone. This is a new regime sort of thing, so you can still deal with us. Because there's going to be a lot of upset Premier League clubs out there. There's even the ones that were in this Super League, from what we gather, United are one of the leaders of this. And then, so even the likes of Spurs and people that sort of maybe followed our lead a little bit might be annoyed that it's not happened. The clubs that weren't in it, Everton's, Villas, all the rest of it, will probably be pissed off that United tried to make this happen. So is that going to affect, do you think, transfer deals in the future? Or do you think money talks, and if we're offering them the money they want, they don't give a shit?
I think money talks, and if we offer them what they want, they don't give a shit. Look, the other thing is, though, there's all this thing at the minute as well with sanctions and clubs, and they've got to be charging this, got to deduct points, got to do this. And I'm sure, it seems as though what the clubs did was obviously the potential for what they had planned to do was completely devastating. Obviously sanctions, obviously all that. But if anyone can tell me in the comments, what Premier League law or FA law, whatever, did these clubs break by saying they're going to play in another competition? What law was broken there? What sanction is available to these clubs for doing what they actually did? Because obviously they didn't play in this tournament. It was basically 2 days or essentially about 30 hours of going, we're going to go soon anyway. Oh, cheers for the cup of tea. We're going to head off. That's basically all they did. Yeah. And obviously the ramifications were, monumental. But what they actually did, what can you punish us for? I'm not saying I think that the owners should be punished. Obviously there'll be protests and that sort of thing, and hopefully legislation to be brought in place. But other than it being a sort of a starting point and a lighting of the kindling of legislation, what actually can be done as a ramification of what these clubs did? Because Section L9.
People are saying this.
I keep saying this, but Section L9, as far as I'm aware, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, is you aren't allowed to play in another competition, which is obviously what they were saying they would do, but we didn't play in another competition. We didn't play in the European Super League. So as far as I'm aware, that we didn't break that rule, because if we'd have played in it, fair enough, but saying you're going to play in it isn't the same as playing it, is it? No. So, maybe, I think the law is they can't sign up to other competitions. I mean, well, yeah, maybe that rule was broken. I don't know, because what was even done? What actually was done? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is the Super League even a competition at the stage that it was at? I don't know. But yeah, it mentions they can't enter one. But did they enter one? They said they would, but apparently there's these 23-year contracts, which they've gone. Oh, do you remember when they said, you know what? There's an initial 23-year contract with the European Super League. Hi, Perez, yeah, we're out. Well, those contracts don't give a fuck, do they? Those contracts either don't exist or are the worst contracts of all time. That a 23-year supposed contract can be scuppered in 48 hours. So that's what I mean. Did they actually even join the Super League? What actually happened? Anyway, who knows? Who knows exactly what happened? People saying it's about joining. Yeah, I understand that. But did they join it? Because if they did, isn't there a 23-year contract that they supposedly signed that clearly hasn't been signed or had no actual backing, and therefore did the Super League even exist as an entity, as a sporting entity at all? Anyway, sorry.
Did you ever see that video of that Muslimic ray guns?
Yeah, one of the best videos of all time.
It just reminds me, like, they've got their law, right?
Yeah.
And that's their law, isn't it?
Yeah, the worst, most racist video of all time. But it's so
it's
bad.
Their law, right? That's their law, the Muslimic law. What? I love the interviews, like, what law are you talking about? Like, just being dead right. The law, their law, isn't it? Right? Yeah. But I don't understand this. All I know is that a lot of people are going to hate us.
Yes, I just don't think.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, what was essentially a 1.5 day or 2 day, shitstorm that may well have fucked the owners because it's really reignited everyone's hatred for them. I don't think that will affect inter-club relations on a transfer basis long term. Maybe it will slightly, but I don't really think so.
Thomas Martin says Perez was talking proper bollocks about the contracts last night.
That's what I mean.
Perez, to me, seemed like... I remember to tell you once, right, I interviewed Dave Whelan, do you remember the Wigan chairman?
Oh, yeah.
And
did he mention his broken leg?
He may have done, but he started using words and terminology that are not very woke, shall we say.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Similar to that video we've been talking about.
Yeah, like that. And it was like... it's the only interview I've ever been at where the press guy was like, stood over there, and I felt like saying, come and get him. Come and help him. Come and actually take this microphone away from him because he's talking absolute rubbish and he's going to get himself in trouble, because I felt like Dave Whelan just didn't really know what he was saying. And Perez last night is the same vibe. It's like, take his microphone off him. Just stop him saying words because he's talking rubbish and he's embarrassing himself. Yeah. And he's obviously not only is he not up to speed with what's going on, I don't think he's up to speed with reality. No, do you know what I mean? In terms of this, it was just completely nonsensical, and he kept going on and on and on. And there's obviously the worst thing is he's not got the information. He doesn't know what he's going on about, and he's very adamant and passionate about it, which isn't a good combo. If you're like ranting but you don't know the full facts,
but the reason
you're just like making a
that's the thing yourself. With this don't know the full facts. Honest, and maybe a bit conspiracy. I don't know. I don't think there are any full facts. I think this whole thing was a sort of a, not last minute because I know it's been planned for a long time, but the way that this came out was so haphazard and just off the cuff, it felt like. Anyway, we've got a website, what is it? 1 page, and you scroll and it's about this. Like,
how can you have
it's not a website.
What is it? Was it £3.5 billion Super League with the biggest clubs, some of the biggest clubs in the world, and you have a website that looks like a college project?
Yeah. It said .wix at the end. You can't be having that. .wix. It didn't actually, but that's what
and like you say, the worst PR ever.
Shocking.
There was no PR.
See, that's what I think. I don't believe there were contracts. I don't believe there. Because here's another thing, right? And this we're going on too much about this now because I'm getting into it. We'll move on in a second.
It's all right.
If I say I'm starting a football league,
Right, okay.
and you say I'll join it,
Yeah.
and then your owner goes, oh no, let's do it differently. If I say I'm starting a business,
What business?
oh, it's well, we do videos basically. We do videos about Man United.
Oh,
You should come join it, and then you go and tell Steve and Adam, and you go, right lads, I'm going to go join Joe's business, and they go, well, you know, there's a clause in your contract that says if you join another YouTube channel making Man United videos, then we can sue you, and you go, oh, well, actually, Joe, show us the documents for your business. And I go, what? What do you mean? What document? Oh, well, there's a 23-year contract. Remember you said, we talked about that. And then you can't get fined for joining a channel that isn't even real. The Super League, it wasn't even a football thing. It wasn't real.
It was just an idea.
There's no evidence that the Super League was a football competition. It didn't exist. Anyway, sorry, Karen. Next thing, next topic. I need to move on from this because it's too much.
Cavani. Do you remember him?
I remember
We've
it.
not spoken about him for ages, have we? It feels like eternity since we've spoken about things other than the European Super League and other than the fact that our owners are complete and utter parasites. Well, we've been talking about that for 16 years. But Edinson Cavani and his contract, so what's happening with that?
Well, there are talks, there are suggestions that are coming out of, I think they're coming out of Uruguay actually, that the contract talks with United are going well. So we were promised that in April, Ollie would sit and talk to Edinson, get his thoughts on the matter. He's going to come back with his opinion. Is it going well? Is it happening? Is it not happening? The suggestion is at the moment that talks are advancing well, and that, you know, we may well be seeing Edinson Cavani next season. The weird thing is, this is very much the most sort of, I don't want to use this term, you know, sexistly, but sort of gentlemanly in the traditional sense, contract talks, because we've got an optional year on his contract. We could just make him stay a year. Do you know what I mean? Man United can just activate that year, and all of a sudden he's playing next season. So we're very much giving him the old, would you like to stay? Should we?
You've got it though, haven't you?
Should
you
we
can't make it.
No, which is good, and I like that we're doing that. But it's a strange position where it's like with Pogba, it's like we're having that extra year. We're having that optional year. We've already activated it.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do, fella.
Yeah.
But with Cavani, we're like, so yes, we've got you for 1 year plus an optional second year, but would you like to leave us with no strikers? Please don't. So that's a bit weird to me, but it sounds as though things are going well. Hopefully that is reliable. Hopefully that is true, because we were talking before, it's been very much a sort of an up and down with Edinson Cavani, hasn't it? He came in straight away, looked like he was getting goals. I mean, I said he came in straight away. His first appearances for the team, it took him a while to get in because of fitness and, you know, COVID reasons. But his first few games for the club looked very promising, culminating basically in, you know, he was the driving force behind that Everton comeback. And then there was an injury, and then there was the ban for the racism incident on his Instagram. Then he came back and didn't look so good, and then there was another injury. And at that point, we were stood here sort of going, you know,
He missed 9 out of 10 games at one point.
Yeah, and if he doesn't stay, then it won't be the end of the world, and it's not maybe set the world alight. But he's come back, and last handful again, like against Tottenham, I would say as a number, again, traditional number 9 performance. I know Martial had some brilliant performances, Sheffield United getting a hat-trick, but as a number 9 performance, that's as good as I've seen in a while, how he was against Tottenham. So I don't really know where I am. I'd like him to stay now, but it's hard to sort of keep track of everything with a player of his age. You think, are those injuries going to get any better?
Yeah, I agree, that number 9 performance, and it was an out-and-out number 9. I mean, you've not seen that since...
Yeah.
Lukaku maybe in Paris,
Zlatan
maybe,
yeah, the poaching of Lukaku in Paris was excellent.
But no, you're right. It was a typical sort of number 9 performance that we've been missing at Manchester United. Because as you said, even though Martial can be fantastic up front, remember the hat trick against Sheffield United is a great point. But he's not that type of player, and it was a sort of out and out number 9 player, especially after he got his goal disallowed as well, because he sort of rolled his
run he made for the goal was just the pass and the work from Pogba was fantastic as well. But the run where he was basically running about 10 yards out, and he's finding a gap and then making a run towards goal with no space, runs onto the ball with no space, gets it past Lloris. It's such a shame it was ruled out, but that kind of in-the-box runs, they're so hard to do, so hard to pull off. But yeah, it's a weird position we're in with him now, because I would say that I definitely would like to have him next season, would you?
Yeah, I'm with you because I was like you. We were talking about upstairs, weren't we? We were both saying that it'd been a really weird sort of feeling with Cavani because he came in. You know, we had that chant that we've not been able to sing to him, but everyone was raving about because it's mint. He scored those goals against Southampton, some other important goals as well. And you're like, you know what, this is the sort of player we've been missing. He's fantastic. He's the type of player you get behind. Then he got his ban. Then he was injured. Then there was a couple of performances which for me weren't good enough. The Emirates one in particular, where he missed one of the chances, was an absolute sitter. And I definitely expect a player of his quality to score that. And you're like, is this really happening for him? Is this a good fit? Or is he disillusioned? Then there were stories coming out from his dad that he wanted to go Boca Juniors. And at that point, I was almost like, well, if you don't want to be here, he's not, you know, I think his record at that time was 6 in 21 games, and a lot of them were a sub, which is all right, but it's not like, oh, we've got to do everything we can to keep him. But the way he's working with younger players, you've seen him having words with Mason Greenwood. Spurs is a good example where he was saying, you know, it's it first time into me, and he did, and he helps him score. The work rate he puts in, we're hearing good reports from him from training, and also, you know, he scores some goals as well, scores some important goals. Fit as a fiddle, so forget the 34-year-old thing, he just looks like he's, you know, he's as young as I am. So why not then? Yeah, I think he is a player that we don't have that similar sort of style of player, we don't have that experience, we don't have that record. Keep him. Yeah. Keep him if we can. I mean, ideally, we'd like to go out and buy Erling Haaland or Harry Kane, but is that going to happen? I don't know, and if that doesn't, then keeping Edinson Cavani may be the best next option.
Yeah, I think it might well be. That is coming from German Garcia Grover, by the way, who is a South American football writer, I believe. So
I know who he is.
Sorry.
Don't forget to hit subscribe as well. Subscribe, link in the chat. Give us a subscribe. Ross Murphy says Joe does good analogies. Some interesting, some funny. So he likes you.
Some good, some shit.
Yeah. Darren Cox
sometimes
says
maybe good.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe shit.
Not so good. Darren Cox says Leeds next. I would like to see them wear the t-shirts again. Maybe our players could do the same. Keep the pressure on the Glazers. Yeah, I mean, will our players do that? I think, was it the fans' t-shirts? Was it football? I can't remember what it was, but it's something to do with fans, wasn't it? I don't know. I mean, this is a weird one now with the players because it's gone from the Super League idea, which the players obviously were comfortable speaking out against. We saw that Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Marcus had done tweets or posts about it. There was rumours that Harry Maguire had actually spoke to Ed Woodward about it and more or less confronted him. We saw interviews. Patrick Bamford, you talking about Leeds, did a fantastic interview when he spoke about it. I was really impressed with him. Will players be able to do that about the owners of their club? Can you do that? I mean, you can. No one can physically stop you if you want to go out and say, you know, these owners in parasites have had enough of it. Yeah. But is that likely to happen? Is that fair that we expect that from players? I want him to do it, but
it depends where we are with things. I think if the Super League was still the entity it was on Monday, this sort of, you know, expected dominant sort of, you know, just rejection of football as it has always been, I think I would be expecting the players to do something, some form of protest, some form of something against Leeds. With the Super League basically crumbling, and it's only Barcelona left in it, I don't think they will now. No, and maybe I mean, it is difficult, isn't it? And at the moment, obviously, as fans and as players, they will see the way that the ownership of multiple clubs in the Premier League, but obviously Man United being one of the main ones, because Joel Glazer was going to be the vice chairman of the Super League, they will all see the way the ownership has affected things and the way the ownership has basically ruined the way, you know, Manchester United is seen by people around the world. And as fans of Manchester United, you look and you think, well, there's a huge part of this club that we no longer relate to, that almost seems to be directly in opposition to pretty much everything we stand for when we're looking at football. And they'll know that, but I don't know if the imminent danger is there as it was before. There was an obvious target. The Super League is the imminent danger. Whereas now that's gone, what's the imminent danger? In theory, it's back to status quo. In theory, it's back to, you know, how things were. So I don't know what they would do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Jack Carter, we've not missed two super chats. They're in my thing here. I was just waiting for Joe to finish. He's like, you missed two super chats. I've got them here. I've got yours. Much love, lads. Could watch this duo all day. Help me get through some grim times this year. Sorry for derailing Tuesday with soggy biscuit gate.
That's all right. Jay learnt a lot that night, didn't he?
Travis Star 92 says Cavani looking to leave in the summer. Too much Miver from UK press. Hopefully he stays because you can see the effect he has on Greenwood. And Gregory Cooper says quality content as always, Paddock. You guys have kept a lot of us going over last year. PSJ, when's the next Scotty and Monty podcast? It'll be coming up soon. Scotty had a little bit of a break. And do you know what? I was like, me and James have been doing with Scotty, and I was like, I'm not going to do him without Scotty. He's my partner in crime, so we should be back probably this weekend, mate. Hopefully Sunday night we'll do one. If not, it'll be the week after. But we're still going and we're still doing it. Just Scotty was having a couple of weeks off. But yeah, Scotty and Monty.
Looking forward to it.
No escape, mate. Whether you like it or not, we're still going to do it.
When we talk about protests and we talk about how things are going.
Yeah.
Ilkay Gundogan, I think is a good...
How do you say his surname? Go on.
Gundogan.
Gundogan. Yeah, nice.
However you want to do it, somewhere in that realm, that region. He's come out and spoken tonight, as you can see there.
No one wants to hear from that city muppet.
Generally, neither would I.
All
but
right.
he's come out and said, with all the Super League stuff going on, can we please also speak about the new Champions League format? There you go. There's something we can target. There's an imminent danger. More and more games... Is no one thinking about us players? The new UCL format is just the lesser of two evils in comparison to the Super League. He also says the UCL format right now works great, and that is why it's the most popular club competition in the world for players and for fans. That's the sort of thing I could hope for United players to do. I mean, I could hope that they had Glazers out t-shirts on, but that isn't going to happen, is it?
No.
Let's face the facts here. This is the sort of thing I would get behind, where there was always this suggestion all along that this was a sort of a distraction technique. Super League, Champions League's just been changed. The rug's been pulled out from under you. All those, cliches and phrases that you can imagine. But there are a lot of similarities between the Super League and the new Champions League
We were
format.
talking about this the other night, weren't we? Like the wild card entry, where you cannot qualify.
Fucking wild, mate.
Yeah, and still get in it anyway, because you can go, well, because of the coefficient or we can still choose you to go in, which that's not competition, that's not being the best or earning the right to get in there. That's just them going, okay, well, you make a lot of money for us, so come on, you can come in. Which again was the whole sort of a lot of the anger towards the Super League was because of that idea. So you're seeing it to a lesser extent in this new Champions League format.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a good point that it pains me to say that he's making there, because he is a City player, but he's right. I mean, it's the lesser of two evils. It's still far from good enough.
Yeah.
Not even perfect. I don't mind if it's not perfect, at least if it's decent, or, you can see what they're trying to do in a positive light, but it's awful. And that needs addressing. And you worry now that because the Super League thing's been scuppered, are UEFA emboldened and they think, well, this is what we're going to do, and there's fuck all you can do about it. Yeah. This is your new format. You're stuck with it. You are going to play loads more games. You are going to have teams that haven't qualified that get in anyway because this wild card thing or whatever it is we brought in. So you're going to have to lump it. That's a big worry in it, because we've been that focused on not having the Super League, and the fact that it's dead in the water now, other than Barcelona who are deluded, has given us all a reason to rejoice. And then you're actually lucky. Next season we're going to be in this, or whenever it kicks in, this new format. 2024, sorry. You're going to be in this new Champions League format, which is pretty shit.
Yeah, largely similar. Large, league, two leagues who play each other. There's going to be playoff systems. There's going to be all sorts of things going on. Maybe not the playoff system, but certainly, like you said, a couple of wild card entries. When it's wild, isn't it, to see Manchester United in the Champions League? How wild, Jay?
Imagining that in under Moyes, we finished 7th. And he went, well, you're in anyway.
Yeah, because you're in 3 finals in 4 years. 4 years
Yeah.
ago, like it was at the time. It's like, yeah, you'll be in.
And then the board go, actually, we got Champions League.
Keep
Moyes, keep your job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, well, everything's all rosy then.
Yeah.
Just keep going. It's not. You have to have that motivation as well as a football team, as a club, to succeed, to finish higher, to reach higher, to strive for excellence. Not, it doesn't matter if we finish wherever, because UEFA have got our backs and they'll still put us in the Champions League.
Isn't it funny that the corrupt, awful, money-taking, organisation that is UEFA has been the good guys for 2 days? Up until Sunday, everyone, what do you think of UEFA? Just corrupt, full of shit, trying to make as much money as they can. What do you think of them now? And then if you ask them on Monday, what do you think of UEFA? Oh my God, they're going to save the world. They're going to get rid of this Super League. Thank God they're threatening to kick us out of the Premier League. Thank God they're threatening to kick us out of the Champions League and the Euros and the World Cup. It's like, we've almost been distracted into thinking that they weren't the bad guys, or one of a group of bad guys. But I think it's a good point made by Gundogan. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of that in the coming months and years.
I think a lot of that's going on. I think a lot of them, we've looked at Sky
Yeah.
And even and BT, we've gone, oh, these guys, you guys are great. And it's like,
thank God,
you
Gary
know,
Neville.
I think I've seen a few tweets. It's like, oh, does that mean my Sky subscription and my BT subscription are free now?
Yeah.
Still having to pay to watch football. Oh, man,
Yeah.
you still having to pay a lot of money in some cases.
15 quid a game it was for a bit. Do you remember that month?
That was like, you used to be able to go to them watch the game. I know inflation is a thing.
When I was a kid, I think a kid's ticket was like 18 quid at United.
Really?
Yeah, when under 16, what would have been 10 years ago, was that 18 quid, 20 quid, something around the price to watch Burnley fucking Wolves draw 0-0 or Burnley West Brom, whatever it was, draw 0-0.
Someone in the chat said about Leeds, he said Leeds were charging 40 quid for an away fan in the Championship, so let's not pretend that they're all rosy. Yeah. So there's always the hint of hypocrisy among some of these, but I think it's like that thing where the focus was just get rid of the Super League. Yeah. So you can put all that to one side and just focus on this. And it's a similar thing that what's going on with United and some of the fan channels and the groups and stuff that you're seeing. It's, we might not all agree on everything, but the focus for a lot of us now, well, for all of us, should be about the Glazers, about trying what we can do to get rid of them. Mm-hmm. And even if you're not always sort of seeing the same side of the argument on certain things, we can all agree on that. Go on, have you got a couple of super chats you want to read out there?
Yeah, Aaron Quinn with one. You haven't read that one out, have you?
No, go on.
He said, as content creators, would you really want a stretched out transfer window? With Woodward gone, it could be snappier this time getting players in.
I'm not bothered
with content
creators.
I don't. Whatever. I want United to sign players quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're thinking from that perspective, I mean, watching Haaland for an extra 2 months of pre-season would be fun as well, wouldn't it? So I want United to get business done as quickly, as efficiently as possible for the best chance of succeeding the next season. I don't care about the content creator side of things. Abdullah Ibrahim, Gundogan has a point. The FA accepts it because it's 4 teams from England that qualify. The FA use that to increase the monetary value of the PL. All are bent, absolutely. Right, Jay, should we move on to our final topic tonight?
Yes, I'd like a nice, big, juicy transfer rumour story pie wrapped in a bow of beef jerky.
Oh, lovely.
A bowl of shite.
Do you like beef jerky?
I've never had it. It's American. I'm not into all that Yankee muck.
Says you with your fucking Pepsi on the...
That is
British.
Bottled in somewhere, I don't know.
Suburbs.
Huddersfield.
Yeah, Pepsi. Pepsi!
Britvic Island, you see. I'm Irish. This is Irish, so it's acceptable.
Right.
I'm not anti-American, by the way. Joe's American, and me and him get on. Yeah, give us a transfer.
That's sort of half true.
We're civil.
No, I mean, I'm not fully... Do we not get on?
I thought you were saying that was the point.
I was
that was the
arguing
point.
the
You were saying
American
it's only
thing.
half true that I saw.
No, it's half true that I'm American.
Oh, right. Yeah, all right.
My mum's American.
Yeah.
What do you mean we don't get on?
We're civil, I said. Yeah, you know.
We're more than civil.
Do you know?
I gave you a massage.
Right in front of the children.
Okay, Varane.
Give us a like as well, because there's quite a lot of you watching. I've just noticed that not all of you are liking us. Come on, man. Get in.
Yeah, let's see if we can get 1,000 likes for Jay.
Thanks, mate.
For his surgery.
Yeah, for my...
Jay's getting someone else's scalp fucking chucked on his scalp. Would you take that? Do they do a hair transplant?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, let's get a bit from back of your head to stick on the front.
Yeah.
None of that. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Too far gone for that.
Yeah, I don't think there's any left to stick on anywhere.
They say to you,
yeah.
We've heard a rumour.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, be as dour as this is. Tom Jones's scalp is going to be up for grabs in the next couple months.
Yeah.
We can stick it on your fucking mush.
Yeah.
Do you want Tom Jones's scalp stuck on? And it's not unusual because these things are doable.
Would it turn me into a sex bomb?
Get out. I will not have your sex organs bandied around this office willy-nilly. Yeah? Right, Varane, let's talk about that. You've ruined it. You've ruined it because we had a good thing going there and you had to say the sex word, the S word. Varane.
Enough about Tom Jones's wig or his hair, sorry. Yeah, of course I would.
Good lad.
But let's talk about Raphael Varane, because we've been reading for him for a little while, and the plot thickens, as they say.
Would you like me to read this tweet from Fabrizio Romano to illuminate you on the situation?
I want you to illuminate and elucidate me.
Florentino Perez, who only speaks truths.
Never heard of him before. He wants to start speaking up a bit more.
Speaking in a more traditional role, rather than being some weird rebel fighter for his own cash wallet.
Was he wandering down the street in his dressing gown when he said this, by the way?
With his cold todger hanging out. Grandad, get back in here! No, we're going to make the game shorter. We're going to make the game shorter. 6
don't like
minutes.
football
the
anyway.
kids don't like me anymore. They don't play football with me.
Super League's still a thing.
Please, Grandad, please. Right, he said yesterday, Varane. That's what he said. Varane. I'm happy for our team. If players don't want to stay at Madrid, they can leave. There's still no agreement between Rafael Varane. This is Romano now. There's still no agreement between Rafael Varane and Real Madrid about a new contract. Current one is expiring in June 2022. Now, Rafael Varane is someone who Man United have had their hand for a long time. Perez there, speaking on behalf of Real Madrid, is saying there is no contract. We don't look close to signing the contract. He can leave. What do you make of that?
If that is the case, then I think we should try and get him. And I think he's gettable. And I think that if you look at Varane, what he's won, the age he is as well, it all makes sense. It really does. The only question is, would he come to Manchester United? Does he want to play in England? And if he does want to play in England, will he come to United? I think if he's up for playing in the Premier League, then United would be a good move for him, because when you go from Real Madrid, Man United, despite all our problems or all the shite that's gone on recently, we are a big club. And we are a club the similar size as someone just comes in banging doors about there. Alex Bagger's there.
He's just come right. He's just been on a date. He's half cut full of booze, and he thinks he can come in here and disrupt us. Well, he can't. He can't. Right. Varane, you like him, don't you?
Can I just say this is my favourite comment?
Go on.
Ainsworth96 says, once saw Tom Jones in Media City Booths buying a 4-pack of bitter.
Fantastic.
I reckon that's true.
Yeah.
Like, because Media City, yeah. And plus, I reckon he drinks better.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
what else would he drink? Maybe a whiskey.
That's what I mean. It's like, that's one of those stories where it sounds like crazy, but it could be true.
4-pack as well.
4-pack.
Just enough for the train home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go on.
I think Varane would be great. I mean, we've talked about him before on this channel. He's always one of those players that just seems out of reach because he's such a big name in terms of a centre-back. He's, Koulibaly's a big name, but for me, has never truly proven he was worth his notoriety. He was worth his supposed price tag. There were talks of 100 million quid for years about Koulibaly, a player who's won essentially nothing. I mean, obviously on the international stage, I think he's Senegalese, Koulibaly, so he's going to struggle to win, a World Cup or something. But he's never dragged Napoli to much. He's never made that big move and won things. Varane has won everything.
Do you know what I love? Is when Ronaldo Brown, who I love more than life itself, was doing his news of the week, he was talking about Rafael Varane. And he said he was one of the brightest stars as a young defender, and there's a lot of hype around him, and he never quite lived up to it. I was like, can I just read you some of his honours?
Go on.
To Ronaldo Brown, this is a player that you think didn't quite live up to his hype.
His billing.
Yeah, 3 La Ligas, a Copa del Rey.
Bullshit.
4 Champions Leagues.
Oh, 4. Bit.
4 club.
Not a full round number, is it? So
4 Club World Cups, and the actual World Cup.
Oh.
So maybe not the worst career.
What potential did he have? Who was he meant to be?
The guy's won more. He's won more Champions Leagues than Manchester United have as a club.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's no Michael Phelps, is it? 24
and he's only
gold
27.
medals.
What do you want from him? Ronaldo has a very high expectation.
There are so few. It was difficult for me to even envisage a human who's won more than that. I was trying to think of someone to take the piss out of saying he's no. And Michael Phelps was the other one I could think of because he's won so many gold medals. I was like, he's no. I was going to say he's no Messi, and I was like, he's won more than Messi. I mean, he's won less Ligas than Messi, but he's won more Champions Leagues
and he's won a World Cup. Messi hasn't won.
So I was like, it's difficult. The only was Da Vinci because we were talking about before, and Michael Phelps. Other than that, who's done more than him? Maybe Sergio Ramos. But anyway, yeah, he's a great
Ronaldo
player.
has a very high expectation, a very high bar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What? Just 4 Champions Leagues? Ashamed of yourself.
Awful.
Yeah. I think he'd be a great player to come in, and he'd have that mentality as well. When I'm a winner, I've won lots of things. I'm not going to spend the sort of peak of my career kicking around 5th in the Premier League. We're here to win.
There is that, but I think it's interesting because the trajectory we are on under Ole suggests to me that this should be a sustainable position we're in. I think the squad has got better. He's made the squad better as well. Players like Luke Shaw, it's easy to say, well, he had this potential. Well, he wasn't showing it under anyone else.
No.
He didn't show this potential under Louis van Gaal. Obviously, part of that was because of a terrible injury. But he wasn't showing that in the later years under Van Gaal. He wasn't showing that under Jose Mourinho. He is showing that under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he's done a similar thing with Lindelof. to a lesser extent, David De Gea as well has sort of had a bit of a resurgence in form. But I think that there's a reason for players to join Manchester United again. I do think that. And finishing third last season, and I know Leicester won tonight, but what is looking like second again this season, that's something to join. That's a project. That's a tangible, shortening of the distance to real success. And I think maybe not Varane, because this may well be a contract ploy at Real Madrid, and the way Perez is talking is with the bolshiness and the confidence of a man that is either having a nervous breakdown, which he may well be, or thinks that Varane is posturing for a big deal. But if he isn't, I don't think that United are out of the question, because I think we're a decent proposal and a decent team to join again.
Miklos Bereni says, Ronaldo is right, Varane has no Cup Winners' Cup.
That's true.
Fantastic point. No, I agree. I think, United are, you could argue, you could see the signs are there under Ole. And also, the only team above us in the Premier League, who did come to the Premier League, is Manchester City. Are they, I know Varane's an absolute star, but are they after a new centre-back? Laporte, Diaz, Stones.
They're always after a new centre-back. Oh, is he about 50, 60 million?
We'll have him. Yeah.
And then work it out afterwards.
Yeah, no, I just don't know if that is...
I don't think they are, no.
No, I think Diaz and Stones this season have been pretty
I think if there was another team that with a similar sort of trajectory, similar sort of money, similar need for a centre-back, Chelsea would be the one that springs to mind of...
Especially when you look
they've got some decent centre-back, but
their
their best...
Silva's getting on a bit, innit?
Zuma has been good this season, but he can have a season on, a season off, or season on, 2 seasons off. And Rudiger seems to be up and down as well compared to last season when he was very good. So you could see maybe Chelsea going after him. I mean, I'd love to have Varane at United.
Yeah, I would definitely. We're going to wrap it up there. Thanks for everyone that's been involved in the chats. What are you laughing at? Go on.
Joel M says, Joe's hair is shorter. No, I've just had my fucking eyes lowered, pal. I've had my ears lowered.
Such a shit joke, that.
Yeah, it's
when
good.
You say that, skills.
Your ears lowered. I love it. Hey, do you know something?
Go on.
Forgot.
That's a great story. Go on. Should be an after dinner speaker with that one.
Forgot now.
Here's one for you. When I can remember it. Hey.
Go on.
Yeah, we've got loads more stuff coming up. We've got videos galore. We've got Stephen Howson, the new political correspondent for Stretford Paddock. He's going to be speaking to the Mayor of Manchester. That's not a joke. He is. That'll be up first thing in the morning. So he'll be getting all the sort of cutting-edge political stories going on in this day and age. So make sure you check out his interview with Andy Burnham. We've also got Macca, Adam McCullough. He's been talking to one of his mates who's also a rival, Rory, for Chelsea fan Rory. So we've got that coming up as well.
Mr. Jennings,
yes, Rory Jennings. As I said before, spoke to Laurie Whitwell. We've got an interview with him. Got a couple of interviews as well with ex-players coming up. So they'll be coming up.
All sorts coming up.
There's so much going on. Yeah. And we'll keep you posted if, there's any...
Because here's the thing.
Things going on like we did today when there was the lads went down to Carrington. We went down there and did a report there. So we'll always keep posting that. Make sure you go and check out Howson and McCullough as well. If you missed that about what went on at Carrington, I'm sure you know it. There's a report on the channel as well from there, from yours truly. We'll also be looking towards the Leeds game. We've got Leeds coming up. Bit of a big one. Declan Platt in the chat says Joe's Devo impression is class.
Nice one, dickhead. Did you ever watch MC Devo as a youth?
I think I've seen this slightly. I think you've done this to me before. I think we've had this convo. So yeah, well done.
Jay's lying. Never seen it.
I know.
You've been Thorsby Market, pal?
What?
You ever been Thorsby Market, pal?
I've ever been there, mate.
Do you want to buy an Adidas t-shirt and a couple of the D's are missing? Oh, Sozard, I need all the letters on it, do I? £4. Do you want some DVDs? Do you want some Xbox 360 games that you can play on a fucking Nintendo DS, mate? Because they're that fucked.
What the fuck are you on about?
Right.
Exactly.
Head down Thorsby Market, mate.
Thorsby Market?
Yeah.
Why would I go to Thorsby Market when I can go to Urmston Market?
Well,
when it's only 3 miles away.
Yeah, well, Thorsby Market's a lot further away, but it's better.
Is it? Has it got an indoor bit where you can get bacon butties?
It ain't got an indoor bit where you can get bacon butties, but it's got fucking candy floss hanging out its house, mate.
Candy floss?
Yeah.
What are we, fucking with the fair?
Yeah, it is when you're at Thorsby Market.
Thorsby Market. Thorsby Muppets.
Oh, Urmston, more like Gurmston. Dickhead.
Hey, say that next time you're down M41. Anyway.
I'm scared, I'm sorry. Anyone from Urmston? So sorry.
Anyway.
Say sorry to Thorsby Market.
I'm sorry, Thorsby Market. If you are from Thorsby Market, I apologise for my comments earlier.
Get your pair of Nike slides. £2, but they only last till you get out of the car park.
Right.
Then they just disintegrate.
I look forward to my next trip. My first ever trip to that market, well, I will be buying some sliders and an Adidas tracksuit top with the D's missing.
Only one of them?
Only one of them. Yeah, if you're not doing so already, and you're probably
D's
not after
missing,
this performance, make sure you're hitting like, share, and subscribing to the channel. That's been Joe Smith. Where can people find you? Other than
Joe Smith
Paulsby
93
Market?
on Instagram and on Twitter as well.
I tweeted him about that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good lad. You know where to find me, Jay Motti, on all the socials as well. This has been Stretford Paddock Transfers Live. Thanks for watching.